Hamid. Hello, Berkeley Public Health. Woo! Woo! You look amazing. Amazing. You made it. I hope you take a moment, as I always tell you, to stop and look around and notice you are at this moment. You did it. It is truly my pleasure to welcome you to UC Berkeley School of Public Health's 77th commencement. My name is Quin Hussey. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Assistant Dean for Students. It is such a blessing to be with you all in person here at the beautiful Greek Theatre today. I've been the Assistant Dean for Students for a little over 2 years, and this is my first in-person commencement. It is so good to be with you, IRL, woo! In real life. Welcome to all the family, friends, partners, spouses, children, support people who are here watching our class of 2022 mark this amazing milestone. So it's my job to open our ceremony with a land acknowledgement. This land acknowledgement was written by the American Indian Graduate Program and the Office of Graduate Diversity. We recognize that UC Berkeley sits on the territory of the Huichin, the original landscape of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, the successors of the sovereign band of Alameda County. This region continues to be of great importance to the Muwekma Ohlone tribe and other familial descendants of the Verona tribe. We recognize that every member of the Berkeley community has and continues to benefit from the use and occupation of this land since the institution's founding in 1868. Consistent with our values of community, inclusion, and diversity, we have a responsibility to acknowledge and make visible the university's relationship to Native peoples. As members of the Berkeley community, it is vitally important not only that we recognize the history of the land on which we stand, but also that we recognize that the Muwekma Ohlone people are flourishing members of the Berkeley and broader Bay Area communities today. And in the spirit of not just acknowledging, but in the spirit of putting these words into action, I want to invite you to learn about the Shumi land tax. Now, I know every single one of you probably has a telephone in your pocket, so you can look that up, Google Shumi land tax, and see what it means, and see if it might be something you're interested in participating in. These funds that are raised through this land tax support the work of rematriation and returning indigenous land to indigenous people, and also help to support the Muwekma Ohlone tribe. So now, it is my honor to introduce our Dean, Michael Liu. Michael is one of the most visionary and transformational leaders that I've had the opportunity to work with and alongside over the many years that I've been in public health. He is also one of the kindest and warmest guys you'll ever meet. It is my honor to introduce Dr. Michael Liu, JMP and MPH, class of '92. Let's make some noise for the Dean on his first in-person commencement.
They told me that it could get really loud in the Greek theater, and I always want to test this out. So let's try this, okay, for all of you. All right. So on the count of 3, let's do Go Bears. Okay. 1, 2, 3, Go Bears! That's pretty good. Okay. Now let's take it up one more notch. Okay. Now on the count of 3, let's do Go Public Health. Okay. 1, 2, 3, Go Public Health! All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the commencement of our amazing graduating class of 2022. Let me start by welcoming the families and friends, spouses and partners, parents and grandparents, aunts, uncles, children, siblings, and the loved ones of our graduates. Like you, my heart is filled with pride in that all of our graduates have accomplished, and excitement in all that lies ahead for them. And like your graduates, my heart is filled with gratitude in all that they have done for you, and all the love and support that you've given them that made it possible for them to be here today. So for that reason, I'm going to ask our graduates to please stand and turn to the audience. Let's make some noise. Let's show some love to all of those people who've always been there for you. All right, I'm going to ask our graduates to keep standing as I give thanks to our amazing staff. They worked tirelessly over the past 2 years under the most extraordinary of circumstances to make sure that each and every one of you can succeed and thrive. From student services to Dream and Rise to all the divisional and program managers and staff, and with a special shout out to Quin Hussey, Colleen Barrasso, and Caitlin Green, and the commencement team of 37 staff and student volunteers who worked so hard over the past month to make this day truly special for you. Our staff are the lifeblood of our community, but they don't always get the recognition that they deserve. And many of them have actually never gotten a standing ovation before. So let's give them the biggest standing ovation ever heard in the Greek. All right, before you take your seat, let me just take a moment to thank our faculty. They're the heart and soul of Berkeley Public Health. And not only are they some of the most brilliant and influential public health scientists and practitioners in the world, but they are also some of the most dedicated, most caring teachers I've ever known. They worked tirelessly amidst all the disruptions and dislocation over the past 2 years to make sure that each and every one of you are graduating with the knowledge, the skills, the tools you need to go out and help change the world. Now, I know in their funny hats and funny robes, they don't quite look like rock stars, but since we're in the Greek and they're on stage, let's show them how much you love and appreciate them. Let's get crazy. And let me just also take a moment to celebrate the 3 faculty who are retiring this year and the 7 faculty who retired in the previous 2 years, but we just haven't been able to properly honor them because of COVID. Collectively, they've given more than 200 years of service to Berkeley Public Health. So in alphabetical order, John Baums, Michael Bates, Kathy Hammond, Nina Holland, Sangwei Liu, Linda Newhouser, Martin Smith, Will Pinzon, and the provost of UC Berkeley, our own Kathy Koshland. Thank you for all that you do for our school, for our university, and for the world. All right, now you may be seated. So, I love commencement. It's one of those moments that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. You will forever remember the pomp and circumstance, the walk across the stage, this glorious afternoon when this amazing class of 2022 is together for one last time. But the one thing that I guarantee that you won't remember is the dean's speech. All right, so if you don't believe me, let me just ask the audience out there. For those of you who've been to a commencement before, raise your hand if you remember what the dean said. That's what I thought. Okay. So I've been fretting about what I'm going to say for the past few weeks, refusing to go down as yet another dean whose speech nobody remembers, determined to say something that at least some of you might actually find meaningful. Now, before COVID, I could just do what most public health deans have done in past commencements, which was to spend most of their allotted time answering the one question that many in the audience, the aunts and uncles, the grandparents had, but were too polite to ask. What do you do with a public health degree? But thank God I don't have to do that anymore. Right? If there's one thing that we learned from COVID, it is that the world needs more public health. And in fact, your timing is impeccable because you're going into public health at a time when the world needs public health more than ever. When you think of some of the biggest problems facing the world today, when you think of some of the greatest existential threats facing humanity in the 21st century, from climate change to pandemic outbreaks, from chronic diseases to social inequality, these are all problems require public health to be front and center in driving solutions. And I can think of nothing more consequential in the coming decade than what together we're going to do in public health. And that's why I believe you are the luckiest graduates in the entire university today, because you are going to work in the field of public health. And I can think of no higher calling, no nobler profession, no field work that's going to save more lives and alleviate more suffering than the one that you're about to enter. But then, I'm not telling you anything that you don't know already. So I thought maybe I can just throw a bunch of unsolicited advice at you and hope that one sticks. And believe me, as a Taiwanese American parent of 2 teenagers, I'm actually pretty good at doing that. But I just wasn't quite sure how inspiring it'd be for me to be telling you at commencement that the ratio of water to rice in a rice cooker should always be 2-to-1, or that blue and gold is always a better look than cardinal red. So I did what a lot of commencement speakers do. I Googled, what's the best advice to give a commencement speech? Well, it actually turns out that there are actually lots of good advice on the internet. I like this list from Jake Tapper of CNN. Be nice to seniors, be nice to children, remember birthdays, never miss an opportunity to charge an electronic device, use 2-step verification, stretch before exercising, stretch after exercising, or just exercise, and never ever pay $200 for a pair of jeans. Well, great advice, but unfortunately, not mine. So I had to dig really deep within myself to find that one thing to say that you're going to remember. The one thing that's going to come back to you in moments of doubt and despair. And this is what I came up with. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't change the world. Changing the world. That's the reason that most of you came to Berkeley Public Health in the first place. You want to make the world a better place. You want to help change the world. And over the last few years, our faculty and staff have worked really hard to give you the knowledge, the tools, the skills you need to go out and change the world, to help you grow new muscles, develop that sense of agency as a change maker in the world in the most supportive, most nurturing environment. But once you leave here tomorrow, it's going to be different. Not everyone out there is going to be rooting for a change maker. There are going to be cynics and skeptics who are going to tell you that you can't change the world. There are going to be bosses and colleagues who are going to be telling you to just stay in your lane, don't rock the boat, and don't make waves. There are going to be doubters and haters who are going to harass and intimidate you because you are speaking inconvenient truths. And there are going to be dark days ahead when you feel like nothing you do matters, when you feel like just giving up on your dream for a better, healthier, and more just world. In those moments of doubt and despair, I want you to remember this one thing. Don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't change the world. Because you can, and you will, especially if you follow these 3 pieces of unsolicited advice from me. So first, don't be afraid to fail. If you want to be a change maker in the world, failure is an occupational hazard. In fact, if you're not failing enough, you're probably playing it too safe. You're probably not pushing the envelope enough to change the system, to shake up the status quo. And the last thing I want to see is for 524 Berkeley Public Health change makers to go out there just to maintain the status quo. The novelist Arundhati Roy reminds us that historically, pandemics have forced humans to break from the past and reimagine their world anew. It's a portal, a gateway from one world to the next. COVID-19 has laid bare many of the deep-rooted problems in our nation and across the globe, from health disparities to social inequality, from economic insecurities to institutionalized racism. And the last thing we need is a return to the status quo. Your generation must set the world on a different path, leaving behind, in the words of Ms. Roy, the carcass of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our data banks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies, ready to imagine another world and ready to fight for it. So instead of wishing you lots of great success, I'm going to wish you lots of small failures. And when you fail, I want you to pick yourself right back up. Don't doubt, don't despair. Learn from your failures, try something new, try something better, because that's the only way you're going to learn how to change the world. Second, to quote the late Congressman John Lewis, don't be afraid to get into some good trouble. Public health is not for the faint of heart. And if you want to make the world a better place, you're going to have to be willing to fight for it. And whether you're fighting for healthcare for all, or fighting to protect reproductive rights, stop gun violence, slow climate change, save the environment, and dismantle institutionalized racism, you're going to have to stand up to some powerful interests. You're going to have to speak up and speak out, even when it's hard, even when it's risky and costly, because that's what it takes to change the world, getting into some good trouble, some necessary trouble. And as Berkeley Public Health change makers, if you don't, then who will? And my third piece of unsolicited advice is that you don't have to go it alone. In fact, for the kind of problems that we're going to have to solve in public health, we're never going to solve them working from our own little silo. So you're going to have to get out of your lane to build collaborative partnership across disciplines, across agencies, across sectors, and most importantly, with the community. The one lesson we learned from global public health over the last 50 years is that simply parachuting into a community with our answers and our solutions, our vaccines and our foreign aid, won't create sustainable change. And if we want to change the world, we're going to have to partner with our local and global communities in co-creating solutions, in building capacity, in building system, heeding the African proverb, if you want to go fast, you go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. And speaking of community, I want you to take a good look around this place. This too is your community. Your people, your families and friends, your classmates, your faculty, and all of us at Berkeley Public Health, including our 18,000 alums who are changing the world every day around the globe. Alums like Lynn Barr, our Alum of the Year, who's transforming rural healthcare for the nation. Faculty like Tony Iton, our commencement speaker, who's transforming communities throughout California. We are your community, a community of public health innovators, change makers, and art vendors, 18,000 strong, fighting the good fight every day against all odds to make the world a better place. So in your hours of doubt and despair, just know that you don't have to go alone. We've all been there before, and we will always be here for you. So in closing, it's been an absolute honor over the past few years to serve as your dean. I wish you fail fast and fail often. I wish you get into some good trouble. And wherever you go, I wish you find a beloved community like this one. People who will always cheer you on, just like we always will. People who believe that you can and will change the world, just like we always do. And yes, please remember birthdays, change your passwords often, always use two-step verification, and blue and gold is always a better look than cardinal red. Congratulations, graduates. Fiat Lux, go Bears. Right. So now to our main speakers. We have a tradition at Berkeley Public Health of lifting up the voices of our incredibly talented students. This year, we have selected 3 graduating students to share a few words of reflection and inspiration with you. Our undergraduate student speaker is Laebah Hamid. Laebah is a Pakistani-Canadian Muslim who ultimately settled in California, where she pursued a bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley School of Public Health. Throughout her time at Cal, Laebah has shown great distinction and has been an embodiment of excellence. Her lighthearted, humorous, and disciplined nature has allowed her to be successful in her personal, academic, and professional life. She has been awarded numerous merit scholarships, maintained a near-perfect GPA, and has been selected for countless honorable opportunities. She's currently a researcher for Stanford University School of Medicine, an advocate and translator for the North American Islamic Shelter for the Abused, and has taken up a new role as a project leader for a design team in San Francisco. Laebah finds fulfillment in healing others, whether it's supporting individuals through their personal struggles or organizing events for the community at large, and hope to expand on these services through her immersion in her next stage of life as she pursues her master's in public health at Yale University. Please welcome Laebah to the podium.
Sorry, I'm too short for the mic. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. One of the core maxims of my upbringing, a value which is shared by many moral beliefs, is that every action in our lives begins with a niyyah, or an intention, a guiding principle for who we want to be and how we want to act, live, and show up in this world. Just like we're sitting here today to commemorate the achievements and dedication of our graduating class, 2, 4, 6 years ago, we showed up to Cal Day with various intentions amongst us. Some of us committed to UC Berkeley to be taught by its world-class faculty or to have great networking opportunities around the Bay. Others prioritized the beautiful campus, nature hikes, or sustainable living. Some of us wanted to represent our institution as community leaders, athletes, or performers, while others simply wanted to make their families proud. Regardless of whether or not we fulfilled those intentions, we have grown to understand that priorities shift with our experiences. Each one of us has gone through something that has influenced the trajectory of our journey. We've made mistakes. We've endured trials and tribulations. We took enriching classes that taught us things we'll never forget, and we've met friends and mentors who have enlightened our souls and changed our outlook on life. And this beautiful change couldn't have happened the way it did without our time here at Cal, and especially our experiences in the School of Public Health. Personally, my intention was to come out of this institution doing something good for humanity. In retrospect, my mind was narrow and my execution was poor. Like many of us, I came with the toxic mindset and mantra that pain is temporary, GPA is forever. Shortly after, I accidentally stepped on the seal, and it was all downhill from there. Completely wrecked. I even ended up taking some time off to regain my health, and in that time, I was able to renew my intentions and purify my strategy. No longer graduating with my original class meant that I had the liberty to relax and be more in tune with myself, to truly absorb what I'm learning as a student rather than only chasing the grade, to seek and give my time to meaningful opportunities and relationships, and most importantly, to seek balance and moderation in everything that I do, and to simultaneously maintain all aspects of my life rather than pushing things away indefinitely. Now that I'm up here, you'd think that I'd have it all together, that I'm finally going to graduate today and move on with my life. But I've realized it's not about having it all together and being perfect. Rather, it's about being equipped to deal with new and unexpected challenges that may arise. That being said, haunting me is the ghost of Data 8. I still have one more class to take over the summer, and that's the beauty of Berkeley. Just when you think you have it together, you're immediately humbled. It makes me value this place so much more, and I didn't realize how much I'd love this until it's almost gone. UC Berkeley School of Public Health. What an amazing place this is. But is this really a public health gathering without mentioning COVID-19? I'll keep it brief. In case you guys didn't hear earlier, in the words of our great Dean Michael, if there's one thing we've learned from the pandemic over the past few years, it's that the world needs more public health. We are the next generation of public health changemakers to take on the greatest public health challenges of our time, from climate change and pandemic outbreaks to chronic diseases and social inequality. And it is our duty to exit this incredible phase of our lives and enter the new one with renewed intentions and a zeal for change. Go ahead. Thank you to our faculty for their dedication throughout all of our time here. You have taught, mentored, supported, and inspired us so that we can all grow to become tomorrow's public health leaders. Thank you to the friends we've made along the way who have helped us grow our love for doing good for humanity. Thank you, Mama and Baba, who didn't know I was going to be up here today. Right there. Thank you to my little brother, Bilal, who is the least problematic sibling anyone could ask for. And I hope you're watching this live from LA. And finally, وَمَا تَوْفِيقِي إِلَّا بِاللَّهِ. My success is only by Allah, and I am grateful to Him for blessing me with this amazing opportunity to be up here in front of you all today. And for those of you that know me, this is going to be the first time I'm saying this, at least without sarcasm. Go Bears!
Thank you so much, Laebah. This year we have not one, but two graduate speakers, Sagaree Jain and Joe Williams. Sagaree Jain is a researcher, writer, graduate student, poet, amateur historian, and a double bearer with 2 degrees from the University of California at Berkeley and a lifelong commitment to research for justice, and practice of engaging with community partners with grace and humility. When they graduate from their MPH, they plan to begin a community-based research practice called Learning Community. Joe Williams is an advocate, researcher, and artist who's deeply dedicated to racial equity and the liberation of people with mental illness. As a proud alum of Stanford University and a newly minted Cal alum, Jo is, in her words, a house divided. Their work at UC Berkeley has focused on applying public health theory and frameworks to the foster care system and reimagining what a society built on culture of care might look like. Jo looks forward to a life after grad school as they pursue opportunities in the Black maternal health space. Please welcome Jo and Sagaree to the podium.
In this piece, we will be discussing self-harm and suicidality. Please take care of yourself as you need to. Lily pads. On what seems like the very first day of the first classes of our Master's in Public Health, Health and Social Behavior degree, we learned about analogies for health. The cliffs, the river, upstream, downstream. We use these analogies to define what we describe as public health, and we wanted to share an analogy that Jo has been developing for months now, based on her lived experience as a former foster youth. The lily pad analogy.
In this life, the structures we build are lily pads. School is a lily pad, incarceration is a lily pad, the social safety nets we build are lily pads. Some lily pads are stronger than others, with sturdy stems and broad leaves. Others are small, fragile, made deprived. These brittle lily pads, brittle systems, fail at the first sign of pressure. Some family systems are rooted in communities with more resources than others. Strong soil, abundant nutrients, clean air and water. In other words, financial and emotional resources to draw on in times of grief or violence. These family systems, these lily pads, are meant to provide structure and a safe place that we can return to and rely on as we journey through life. Some of us have always lived with steady lily pads, and some of us, even in this class, have struggled to stay above water. What were the lily pads that supported you towards where you are today? Sagaree and I grew up on different kinds of lily pads. I was removed from my mother at 14 and placed in foster care. I lived in 9 different households, 9 different family systems, none of which were given the resources they needed to support me as someone with trauma.
Meanwhile, I grew up in a big house with my family in the South Bay. Shout out to my family in the audience. I grew up watching intergenerational wealth break down barriers and grant me access to predominantly white spaces. Wealth, money, even basic income. These are all lily pads that let some of us live in luxury while others flounder in the water. Our stories converged in 2017. In 2017, I was freshly diagnosed with bipolar II disorder and ready to move to Kampala, Uganda for a fellowship in health and human rights research. In retrospect, it was a bold move. I moved to a vibrant, lovely country with no public transit, no ambulances, and not a single queer therapist in a country dedicatedly criminalizing homosexuality. When I found my mental health deteriorating and no resources to support me, I slipped. I hurt myself, almost killed myself. I fled for greener waters, returning to the States within the month to heal, get sober, and have a soft place to land.
Unfortunately, not everyone has that stable lily pad to return to. In 2017, I was also diagnosed with bipolar, but type 1. Picture this. I'm 2 weeks away from starting grad school, and instead of taking my seat at Johns Hopkins University, I'm in a bed in their psych ward. Getting diagnosed with the so-called family curse expanded my understanding of public health. I had jumped to what had always been the strongest lily pad in my life, education. But I got this diagnosis and I slipped. I had to fight my way to a housing program for former foster youth, which just barely caught me. When I think of my mother now, I want to honor that she had so few choices in the brittle lily pads she was given. Today, I want to celebrate her and celebrate the family and chosen family who lend me. I want to celebrate the family and chosen family here and those who were not able to come physically, who lend me their lily pads in the best way they know how, and I love you so much. Thank you.
It was 3 years later, in 2020, when Joe and I realized that God had given us the same master's program, the same concentration, and some of the same work. I remember the day we re-met, the chat in the virtual public health admit day. It was a sign, seeing each other in that chat, both of us healing from falling through the cracks.
We find ourselves at the precipice of a new phase. We, as graduates of the Berkeley School of Public Health, are tasked with building lily pads, strong, stable systems of healthcare, social welfare, and safety, the kinds of systems that help families of all kinds thrive. When people hear stories like mine, they marvel at the jumping, but they don't consider the cracks that I could have fallen through, that so many have fallen through. But I don't want to be congratulated or tokenized for jumping anymore. I don't want to jump anymore. I want strong, interconnected lily pads and a path forward for all mad Black girls.
And I want my people, queer and trans, immigrant and South Asian, sober and bipolar, not to hurt for who they are. I want strong, interconnected lily pads for all of us, and for queer folks of color to find themselves safe, housed, and thriving. Build lily pads. Not fragile ones, not brittle ones, but strong, flexible, and resilient lily pads. Systems that weather the weather. Build them in your neighborhood, in your church, in your chosen family, but most of all, build them in your work. Together, we'll work towards that radical future where we all sit on the surface of the river, free and serene, hands held, eyes to the blue sky. We're dreaming now, and we'll dream until we're all liberated together, every single one of us.
And with that, congratulations to the class of 2022.
We have a little request. Will y'all take a selfie with us? Come on, I can hear y'all. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, let's give another round of applause for Sagaree and Joe for sharing those inspiring words with us. It has become a tradition at our commencement ceremony to recognize several members of our community who have made significant contribution to our community and the world. The recipients of these awards were nominated by faculty, students, staff, and alums. Our first award is one of the highest honors given by Berkeley Public Health, the Alum of the Year Award. For more than 40 years, the UC Berkeley School of Public Health has presented the Alum of the Year Awards to distinguished alums. Each of these individuals has been selected based on their outstanding contributions to the field of public health. Each of them exemplifies inspirational achievements and qualities to which the class of 2022 can aspire. This year, we're honoring Lynn Barr, MPH class of 2010. Lynn is one of the most influential alums to have ever graduated from our school. She's the founder and CEO of Caravan Health, which has helped more than 250 community hospitals and 24,000 clinicians in rural America deliver better care to more than 1 million patients and transition from a fee-for-service to a value-based model focused on patient outcomes. She has been a thought leader and pioneer in the development of rural accountable care organizations and helped launch the National Rural Accountable Care Consortium so that rural providers could work together in payment reform models. Lynn currently serves on the Medicare Payment Advisory Commission, an independent congressional commission which advises the U.S. Congress on issues affecting the Medicare program. She was named by Modern Healthcare as one of the nation's top 25 innovators in 2020. Prior to coming to Berkeley Public Health, Lynn spent many years as an entrepreneur in tech startups focused on medical devices and pharmaceuticals, bringing 13 new medical products to market and launching 5 companies. But it was her time at Berkeley that launched her work pursuing health equity, especially for rural populations. While pursuing her master's degree, Lynn developed a loan program through United Health Group to help hundreds of rural hospitals upgrade their systems for electronic health records, which inspired her trailblazing work transforming the nation's rural healthcare system. Lynn has also been a generous supporter of the school. As I've gotten to know Lynn, I've come to admire not only her extraordinary knowledge of healthcare reform and the insatiable drive for healthcare innovation, but also her deep-seated passion and tireless work to create a better future for underserved populations in rural America. She truly exemplifies the kind of public health innovators and change makers that I want all of you to become someday. Celebrating this award today in the audience are her husband, Bob Campbell, and closest friends, along with her children and their spouses, Becky Barr, Taylor Campbell, Claire Campbell, Danielle Campbell, and Michael Stern. It is my honor to invite the Public Health Alumni Association co-president, Wei Lei, to the podium to present the award.
Good afternoon. Lynn. Lynn, it is my honor to present the 2022 UC Berkeley School of Public Health's Alumna of the Year Award to you, Lynn Barr. Lynn, please accept this plaque as recognition for your outstanding achievements and distinguished service in the field of public health.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. This is an incredible honor, and I owe a great debt of gratitude to the University of California, Berkeley, and the amazing faculty here who taught me everything I know about public health and helped me build off of that. So I want to thank the faculty and the school itself. It's just an amazing place to be able to get an education. Thank you. And I definitely want to thank my family who supported me, particularly my husband, Bob Campbell, who's just been a tremendous supporter and has allowed me to tirelessly focus on helping the underserved, which is something I learned here at UC Berkeley. I learned about socioeconomic determinants of health. I learned about the underserved. And what is exciting about what Michael's talking about change, this is a time where change is possible like it's never been possible before. And you cannot let people say this cannot be done. Because when I came out in 2010 and said, I want to organize rural hospitals into accountable care organizations, all my friendly venture capitalists said, good luck, we're not funding that. Nobody thought it could be done. They said they're small, they're weak, we should leave them alone. And I said, but they're dying. They're dying faster than we are. Their life expectancy is declining faster than the rest of the country. We cannot leave them alone. And so change is possible. And I can't believe if somebody had told me when I was doing my internship that 10 years from now I'd be standing on this podium saying, we've saved Medicare $500 million in shared savings to date. And this year, we've saved them $250 million in 1 year, right? That's where we're on track. And guess who our best performers are in the country? It's the FQHCs. Yeah! All right, so this work can be done, and it will be done. And people are ready for change. And the community hospitals, there's 2,500 community hospitals out there that are safety net hospitals. Find them and help them. They are the ones that care about their community, and they need what you know because they don't have your expertise. So I encourage you to all join community hospitals and lead this population health work for the betterment of our patients and the betterment of the underserved. Congratulations and good luck.
Good afternoon, class of 2022. To all of our guests, family, and friends, our distinguished faculty, and once again, our incredible staff. My name is Amani Allen, and I'm here to present 3 awards. The first award is the Zach Sabry Award. The Zach Sabry Mentorship Award was established in 2004 on the occasion of the retirement of Professor Zach Sabry in tribute to his outstanding commitment to mentoring. The award is given to a faculty member who has a distinguished record of mentorship. This award is given each year to a current faculty member of the School of Public Health, full or part-time, including adjunct faculty and emeritus faculty. They must have at least 3 years of teaching at the School of Public Health and be nominated by a current student of the School of Public Health. I want to share a few quotes from the nominations about our honoree, Dr. Stefano Bertozzi. I said it right, Steph? Okay. Steph truly embodies the spirit of mentorship and guiding students with developing their careers and building leaders of the future at UC Berkeley. Another student wrote, I can think of no one better than Dr. Bertozzi to receive this outstanding Zach Sabry Mentorship Award because of his strong commitment to mentor me through my time here at UC Berkeley. Because of his experience, both in academia and outside of academia, his mentorship has facilitated my professional growth and connections that will serve me well into the future. Dr. Bertozzi encouraged me to pursue a dissertation topic that I was deeply passionate about and guided me through my dissertation, enabling me to excel and maximize my research potential. It is my great honor to announce the winner of the 2022 Zach Sabry Faculty Mentorship Award, Dr. Stefano Bertozzi. I would now like to present the Henrik L. Blum Award for Distinguished Social Action to one of our graduates today. The description of this award is in your commencement program booklet. As a professor of health planning and administration, Henrik L. Blum was highly respected for his teaching and his innovative contributions to the curriculum, particularly in the areas of health planning and health policy. Following Dr. Blum's retirement, friends and associates decided that one fitting testimonial to his inspiring professional and personal life would be the establishment of the Henrik L. Blum Award for Distinguished Social Action. The award is given annually to a graduating student whose public health activities symbolize the spirit of social justice and democratic action, which Dr. Blum epitomized in his own life and which he has succeeded in instilling in the minds and hearts of students, professors, staff, and alumni. This year's Henrik L. Blum Award goes to our very own graduate, Jessie Garcia Gutierrez.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessie Melina Garcia Gutierrez, and I use she and they pronouns. Thank you so much for the Blum Award nominations. I am humbled and truly honored. It is even more meaningful knowing that I have selected by my amazing peers. I want to share that when I started my professional and academic career, I wanted a few things to be true. One being that I wanted my presence and perspective as a trans Chicana to be impactful in all and any spaces that I enter. Being at Berkeley Public Health, I was surrounded by the future public health leaders of this nation. Through my work, I wanted to ensure that these leaders remember to keep in mind the diverse needs of gender-expansive people in their public health work. To me, this award means I have done just that. The field of public health in this nation still have long ways to go in order to meet the needs of gender-diverse people, to allow them to live long, healthful lives. And I have met amazing peers that give me hope that that will happen. Quick shout out to my friends, family, hi mom, who couldn't be here today, community, ancestors, and loved ones who motivate me and ground me to do this work. Thank you and congratulations, Berkeley Public Health Class of 2022.
Okay, our last but not least award, the Sheldon Morgan Award, will be given annually to a graduating student who best exemplifies Dr. Morgan's voracious curiosity and ability to draw upon knowledge of multiple disciplines to address the health problems of society's most vulnerable. You can find a description of the award in your program. Professor Emeritus Sheldon Morgan, MD, had a passion for learning and teaching. He was a pioneer of the field of wellness, drawing from many fields, including medicine, nutrition, endocrinology, biochemistry, statistics, public health, and ethics. At the University of California, Berkeley, Morgan co-directed more than 20 human nutrition studies, the results of which form the basis for many of the dietary recommendations on food labels that we all read today. I am very happy to announce the recipient of the 2022 Sheldon Morgan Award, Perry Calloway.
Thank you, Dr. Allen. I just wanted to say a few quick thank yous. Thank you to the award selection committee and the Morgan family. I was particularly honored to have been nominated by two of my fellow infectious diseases and immunity PhD students, so special shout out to them. I'd also like to thank the rest of my PhD program for being a great group of people to spend 6 long years doing a PhD with. And thank you to my lab for being wonderful colleagues to work with throughout this time. And finally, thank you to my family and Justin for always supporting me. And congrats, class of 2022.
Congratulations to all of our awardees. I have the honor of introducing our commencement speaker, Dr. Tony Iton. Dr. Iton is a Senior Vice President for Healthy Communities at the California Endowment, former Director of the Alameda County Department of Public Health, and I'm proud to say a faculty member at Berkeley Public Health. As Senior Vice President for Healthy Communities at the Endowment, Dr. Iton led a 10-year, billion-dollar place-based initiative called Building Healthy Communities to empower residents in 14 cities with the worst health outcomes across California to fight for changes in their communities that will help them lead healthier lives. In 2021, he launched a $2 billion investment in 3 bold ideas for the next decade: people power, reimagine public institutions, and a 21st century health for all systems. Prior to his appointment at the endowment, Dr. Iton served as the Director and County Health Officer for the Alameda County Public Health Department. Under his leadership, Alameda County launched an innovative plan to improve the health and lifespan of low-income communities by focusing on the poverty, racism, and discrimination that prevented residents from getting good housing, better jobs, and quality health care and educational opportunities. By inserting a public health perspective into conversations about community and economic development, he led the department's effort to improve community engagement and galvanize equity-driven policy solutions aimed at improving population health. Dr. Iton earned his bachelor's science degree in neurophysiology with honors from McGill University, his law degree from Berkeley, and his medical degree from Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. Now, I've known Tony for 2 decades, and not only has he been one of my greatest heroes and role models in public health, but he has also been one of the kindest and wisest human beings I've ever known. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Iton to the podium.
Well, good afternoon. I'm really hungry, and I'm imagining you guys are too. And I'm standing between you and these diplomas. So let me get out of the way. I want to appreciate Dr. Lou Michael for inviting me to offer some brief thoughts to the graduates today. First, I'd like to offer special acknowledgement to the parents and to the spouses and the significant others and the friends and families, neighbors who are here today. Welcome to the celebration of the accomplishments of your scholar. Thank you for supporting them, tolerating their endless Zooms, feeding them and enduring their late nights and books and papers spread out all over the dining room table. You've been a critical contributor to this academic milestone. Look around you, parents, families, friends. Drink it all in. Accept those high fives. This is your day, too. Graduates, I was in your seat 25 years ago. I'll tell you the painful truth, like Michael said, I can't remember a single word of any commencement speech that I attended. I don't remember high school, I don't remember college, I don't remember medical school, law school, my MPH. Anthony Fauci was a commencement speaker at my medical school graduation, and I can't remember a single thing he said. So odds are you won't remember any of the incredible wisdom that I dispensed to you today. Some of you know me as the zip code guy when it comes to health in the United States, your zip code is more important than your genetic code. I'm not going to talk about that today. But I am going to try to leave an impression on you nonetheless. And I'm going to try to get to the root of that understanding of why your zip code matters more than your genetic code. Let me start by telling you about a sleepover that my 12-year-old daughter had last week. She and her best friend now go to different schools, much to their chagrin, and they decided that they wanted to do a Friday night sleepover. So great. I thought, okay, how bad can that be? But then another close friend's parents said that they were going out of town and they wanted their 12-year-old daughter to come over as well. Oh no, 3 12-year-olds at a sleepover, every parent knows that that's a bad idea. It's the odd man out rule. 3 kids dramatically increases the odds that 1 kid will end up on the outs. 2 of them will inevitably gang up on the 3rd and oftentimes just freeze them out. It's called the sleepover rule of 3s. It tells us something about human nature, but I'm going to circle back to that later. It's become cliche to say that we're in unprecedented times. There's a war in Europe raging as we speak with tanks and artillery on the ground. Global climate change with drought, fires already in California, floods, devastating weather events, polarizing politics with an armed assault of the US Capitol, attacks on fundamental reproductive rights, attacks on voting rights, assaults on immigration and immigrants themselves, continuing state-mediated police violence against African Americans, Native Americans, and others, violent anti-Asian racism, attacks on science, attacks on government, attacks on even the study of racism, attacks on trans people and gender-affirming healthcare. Elon Musk buying Twitter? And of course, a pandemic, the likes of which we haven't seen for at least 100 years, except now with organized and extremely vocal political constituencies against masks, against vaccines, against lockdowns, against you. Public health, health officials targeted, threatened, fired, in some cases physically attacked. Case counts, hospitalizations, deaths, all doubted and dismissed as fake news or the self-interested lies of the public health industrial complex. So for those of us in public health, how do we sort through all of this when it comes to trying to make sense of it, to make sense of this cacophony, particularly at a time when our very tools that we depend on are under assault? Science, facts, logic. I want to let you in on a little secret that I have learned that helps make sense of this all and weaves together many of these current and somewhat frightening themes. What we're witnessing at the end of the day is an epic clash of narratives. Narratives. The stories we tell ourselves about who we are as a people. Stories that speak to our core sense of identity. These are deeply rooted in our individual and collective psyches, and they tell us where we belong. Narratives are powerful. Narratives create policy. Policy creates conditions. Narratives create policy. Policy creates conditions. The reality is there are only 2 narratives, and they're opposites. One is about exclusion, and the other one is about inclusion. These are the 2 uber narratives that exist in this country and elsewhere, and every other narrative is in some way derivative of those 2 narratives. Let me give you an example. When a former president of the United States descended his golden escalator to announce his candidacy for office by disparaging Mexican immigrants, saying they're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists. That's a narrative, that's a story. It's an exclusionary narrative, and its goal is to dehumanize a group of people and intentionally position them as a threat and undeserving. They are coming to take something from us. They are taking something that we are entitled to. That exclusionary narrative begat a policy that led to children being locked in cages at the Mexican-American border. We all know the health consequences of young children being caged by armed strangers speaking a foreign language away from their parents and family in harsh and austere surroundings. We know that those consequences will resound in the physical and psychological health of these children throughout their childhood and into their adulthood. Nightmares, anxiety, depression, sleep disorders, suicide, obesity, prediabetes, cardiovascular disease, and other chronic diseases will be more common amongst these children because of this policy. They may well pass on the trauma of this experience to their own children through epigenetics, as you've all learned in your School of Public Health. Public health workers will be managing the consequences of this one policy decision for decades to come. Narratives beget policy, policy begets conditions. Vladimir Putin has constructed a narrative of how Russia is entitled to greatness, but others have taken from Russia things that Russia is entitled to. Putin's narrative is of entitlement and dispossession. Russia's greatness has been stolen and remains under threat by Nazis, NATO, the West, traitors in Russia. So Russia adopts a policy, war, to take Ukraine. Narratives are extremely powerful. January 6, 2021, people from all over the country get up, have breakfast, get in their cars, their trucks, their planes, and descend on the Capitol in Washington, D.C., and raise flags and burn politicians in effigy, assault armed police, storm a barricade, climb the walls of the U.S. Capitol, break through doors and windows with battering rams, desecrate the U.S. Capitol, all driven by a narrative of entitlement and dispossession. Amazingly, the same narrative explains why the U.S. is alone amongst developed countries in not having a system of universal health insurance. In fact, the problem that many people have with universal health insurance is the word universal. That's what stimulates this sense of entitlement. It's for me, it's not for you. One only has to recall the town hall meetings around the Affordable Care Act that were disrupted by armed men concerned that universal health insurance would deprive them of something to which they felt viscerally entitled to. So how? How do we make sense of all of this? So let me offer you this pearl of wisdom. You won't remember it from this speech, but let me offer it to you anyways. In times of uncertainty, focus on the fundamentals. Get the fundamentals right. Back to the 12-year-old sleepover. Is it human nature to other people? Must there always be someone who represents a threat to the tribe? Someone who's on the outs? Perhaps. But if this is human nature, so is love. So is acceptance. So is curiosity. So is empathy. Human nature is multifold and rife with contradiction. So will racism, homophobia, and other forms of othering always be with us? Will there always be an odd person out? Well, with the 12-year-old sleepover, we managed to find a way forward. Each of the girls had a chance to lead, a chance to shine. What we were doing, really, was an experiment in building solidarity. One was good at cooking, so she led a blindfolded cupcake-making extravaganza. Another one is great at video games, so she got to demonstrate her skills at killing things electronically. The third is a talented singer who goes to a school of the arts, and she led the karaoke, and they had a blast. Each of them felt heard, seen, respected, and appreciated. Their full humanity was on display for one another. The sleepover teaches us that we can overcome the inclination to exclude, But only by leaning into empathy, curiosity, and love, we can create the right conditions for all of us to flourish. Through consciously creating connections, dialogue, and familiarity, we can bridge great divides. We can build that needed solidarity across groups. We can recognize our shared humanity and widen the circle of the tribe. Now, here's the good news. California is doing just that. Even those of you who will leave and go back to other states and countries and places, there is now a little California nested in your soul. California is a living and breathing example of an inclusionary narrative. It's by no means perfect. When I was in your shoes, sitting where you are 25 years ago, Proposition 187 had just passed. 60% of California voters supported keeping undocumented Californians from receiving health care and public education. A California governor rode this wave of hatred to a come-from-behind victory. California's narrative at that time was of exclusion and othering. Fast forward to today, and our undocumented sisters, brothers, neighbors, and friends are here today among us in our graduating class. They qualify for in-state tuition, grants, and loans. They can take the medical licensing exam, the state bar. As of May 1st, undocumented Californians over the age of 50 have full scope access to Medi-Cal, joining those between ages 0 and 26. And those 27 to 49 are being included in the governor's budget. They are us, we are them, Californians, all of us, indivisible. Our inclusionary narrative was also demonstrated in our use during COVID-19 of clear equity measures to govern where we cited COVID testing sites, vaccination clinics, and how quickly counties could reopen after lockdown. No other state did this. This was done in the face of stiff resistance by mayors, county supervisors, chambers of commerce, business people like Elon Musk, who took it upon himself to personally attack the Alameda County Public Health Officer, Erica Pan, for doing her job. Those equity measures tied the fates of those who are most privileged to those who have been made vulnerable by our long and compounding legacy of unjust policies. California showed the nation what equitable public health practice looks like. Arguably, we fared better than most states as a result of our attention to equity rather than in spite of it. Narrative is not immutable. It is not static. We can change it. In fact, in the world of public health practice, we have numerous examples of creating an inclusive narrative that resets policy and creates new and more equitable conditions. When I go to other states, I always introduce myself by saying, "Hi, I'm Tony. I'm from California. Therefore, I'm from the future." What happens in California today will happen to you tomorrow, so keep watching us. That inclusive future doesn't happen by accident. It takes work. It happens through the diligent and conscientious work of folks like the graduates in this audience today. Our work is not just creating better programs and services, nor is it just to advocate for and change policy. Our work is to change, strengthen, nurture, and protect our story of who we are as Californians, what we stand for, and what we're building together. That is the foundation of an equitable and healthy California. The Berkeley School of Public Health is a very special place to which I and all the graduates today owe an enormous debt of gratitude for nurturing and enlightening us. I want to thank the Dean, Michael Liu, for his ever-inspiring leadership and friendship. Michael's a special human being and such the right leader for the moment that public health is in right now. I want to appreciate Associate Dean Amani Allen and former Deans Steph Bertozzi and Steve Shortell. Amazing leaders and thinkers. I want to thank my co-lecturer, Harry Snyder, for... I told him you guys would shout when I said his name. For decades of friendship, mentorship, and creative advocacy, and other forms of righteous justice. I want to appreciate the scholarship of fellow Canadian Len Syme and Len Duell, who passed away a few years ago, for the indelible mark that they left on me. They changed my life's trajectory in this school. Others that changed my understanding of the world include Meredith Minkler, Denise Hurd, Lori Dorfman, Larry Wallach, Sherry Pies, George Rutherford, Lee Riley. The names go on. So congratulations to the graduates. I raise an invisible glass to you. What's in it? I don't know. I don't know what I'm drinking today. You've accomplished a personal triumph that no one can ever take away from you. Years from now, when you're reflecting back on this day and have completely forgotten who the idiot was who gave the commencement address, you'll hopefully feel instinctively like you've always known how important narrative is to your work and the struggle to create health equity. And you'll feel proud to have a healthy dose of that California identity embedded deeply within your spirit. Because in the end, public health is about love. It's about empathy. It's about hope, and it's about justice. Thank you for choosing this profession. I'll see you out there on the battlefield. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony, for those absolutely inspiring words. And thank you for your life's work fighting the good fight for health equity and social justice for all. Now we've come to the part of the ceremony that you've all been waiting for, the conferral of degrees. I'd like to ask our faculty directors to please come forward for the presentation of our graduates.
Congratulations, graduates. Okay. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Ariana Bennett, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Public Health. The dissertation title is Unmet Need for Abortion, Conceptualization, Relevance, and Utility as a Tool for Meeting Abortion Needs in the United States. Her dissertation chairs are Dr. Juliana Diordorf and Dr. Anu Gomez, and she will be hooded by Dr. Anu Gomez. He's coming. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Kira Elizabeth Jeter, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Public Health. The dissertation title is Returning Home, Examining Housing, Employment, Self-Efficacy, and Quality of Life as Recovery Capital among Formerly Incarcerated Black Women with Substance Use Disorder. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Denise Hurd, and she will be hooded by Dr. Emily Ozer. Dean Lu, it is my pleasure to present Tracy Lamb Hein, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Public Health. The dissertation title is Epidemiology of Childhood Adversity, Centering Multiracial Americans in a Critical and Computational Analysis. His dissertation chair is Dr. Amani Allen, and he will be hooded by Dr. Allen. The RPH students have long dissertation titles. Dean Lu, it is my pleasure to present Kevin Fang Lee, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Public Health. The dissertation title is Racial Capitalism and Modern-Day Exploitation, an examination of wage theft, state policies, and disparities in worker health. His dissertation chair is Dr. Amani Allen, and he will be hooded by Dr. Allen. Dean Lu, it is my pleasure to present Mighty Angela Niop Win, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Public Health. The dissertation title is Identifying Resilience and the Role of Neighborhood Environments Following Exposure to a Natural Disaster, a Mental Health Trajectory Analysis Among Survivors of Hurricane Katrina. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Emily Ozer and Dr. Ralph Catalano, and she will be hooded by Dr. Ozer.
Dean Lu, it is my pleasure to present Yu Ting Yi, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Biostatistics. The dissertation title is Decision-Making on Noisy Data with Additional Knowledge. His dissertation chairs are Dr. Haiyan Huang and Dr. Peter Bickel. And he'll be hooded by Dr. Misu Kong Dufour. Apparently he's not here.
So my name is Art Reingold. Let me congratulate all the graduates and their families. And before I get to what I'm supposed to do, I want to give a particular thanks to Dr. Iton, because on Thursday the dean told me if he didn't show up, I was going to have to give the commencement speech. And we are really lucky he showed up. So you'll be seeing a lot of me. We have 11 students receiving their PhDs in epidemiology who are here today to receive the degree. So the first, Dean Lu, it is my pleasure to present Cameron Adams, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. Hold on. The dissertation title is An Investigation of Genetic and Genomic Factors in Autoimmune Disease Etiology and Treatment Response. His dissertation chair is Dr. Lisa Barcelos, and he will be hooded by Dr. Barcelos. Next, Dean Lu, it is my pleasure to present Kristen N. Draco, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Assessment of Public Health Interventions to Mitigate SARS-CoV-2 Transmission and Risk Factors for Infection in California. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Joseph Leonard, but I get to hood her. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Cheyenne Belmont, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Identifying New Risk Factors for Antimicrobial-Resistant UTI through Microbial Genotypic and Geospatial Analyses. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Lee Riley, and Dr. Riley will hood her. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Sabrina Christine Boyce, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Social Norms and Gender-Based Violence Prevention Among Husbands of Adolescent Wives in Rural Niger. Her dissertation chairs are Dr. Alexandra Minnis and Dr. Juliana Deerdorf, and she will be hooded by Dr. Sandy McCoy. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Zachary Butson Dozer, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Innovative Randomized Controlled Trial Design and Analysis Methods to Account for and Examine Variations in Population Health in Low and Middle Income Countries. His dissertation chair is Dr. Jack Holford, and he will be hooded by Dr. Mohsen Mujahid. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Deirdre Forte Wilson, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Breast Cancer Survival in African American Women, an Assessment of Modifiable Factors. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Mohsen Mujahid, and she will be hooded by Dr. Mujahid. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Jennifer Head, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Role of Environmental Variability, Individual Behavior, and Public Health Policy in the Transmission Dynamics of Emerging Infectious Diseases. Her dissertation chairs are Dr. Ellen Eisen and Dr. Justin Ramey, and she will be hooded by Dr. Ramey. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Mary Horton, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Assessing the Effects of Combinations of Genetic and Environmental Factors on Multiple Sclerosis using Genomic and Computational Approaches. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Lisa Barcelos, and she will be hooded by Dr. Barcelos. We need taller faculty. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Lauren Hunter, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Reaching Adolescents and Young Adults with Accessible Health Services, Applications to COVID-19, HIV, and Contraception. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Sandy McCoy, and she will be hooded by Dr. McCoy. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Elizabeth Katahdin Michaels, who's receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Conceptualizing and Measuring Racism as a Multi-Level Determinant of Health Inequities. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Amani Allen, and she will be hooded by Dr. Allen. And finally, for me, Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Laura Tellep, who is receiving the degree Doctor of Philosophy in Epidemiology. The dissertation title is Exploring Methods to Identify Individuals Infected with Hepatitis C virus in the United States, an application of ensemble learning with national survey data. Her dissertation chair is me, and I get to hood her.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Claire Boone, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Health Policy. The dissertation title is Essays in Health and Behavioral Economics. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Paul Gertler, and she will be hooded by Dr. Gertler. Any lip readers out there? Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present David Contreras Loya, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Health Policy. The dissertation title is Managerial Practices and Altruism in Healthcare Delivery. His dissertation chair is Dr. Paul Gertler, and he will be hooded by Dr. Paul Gertler. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Lakshmi Gopalakrishnan, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Health Policy. The dissertation title is Gender Norms as a Social Determinant of Health and Well-Being of Married Adolescent Girls and Young Women in South Asia. Her dissertation chair is Dr. Stefano Bertozzi, and she will be hooded by Dr. Bertozzi. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Christopher Lowenstein, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Health Policy. The dissertation title is Essays on Labor Markets and Health, Employment Conditions and Drug, Suicide, and Alcohol-Related Mortality Among Working-Age Adults in the United States. His dissertation chair is me, and I will be hooding him.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Perry Calloway, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Infectious Diseases and Immunity. The dissertation title is The Role of Innate-like Lymphocytes and Their Inhibitory Receptors in the Immune Response to Malaria. Her dissertation chairs are Dr. Eva Harris and Dr. Margaret Feeney, and she will be hooded by Dr. Feeney. Dean Liu, it is my great pleasure to present Nicholas Zuning Lo, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Infectious Diseases and Immunity. The dissertation title is Molecular Determinants of Flavivirus Non-Structural Protein 1 Pathogenesis and Tissue Specificity. His dissertation chair is Dr. Eva Harris, and he will be hooded by me.
Dean Liu, it's my great pleasure to present Mr. Adam Smith, who's receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Comparative Biochemistry. The dissertation title is Genome-wide Screen and Phenotypic Analysis of a Kaposi sarcoma-associated herpes virus genome with insight into capsid maturation. And his dissertation chair is Dr. Liu, and is being hooded by me.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Heather Kathleen Amato, who is receiving the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Health Sciences. The dissertation title is Environmental Determinants of Community-Acquired Antibiotic Resistance in Low and Middle-Income Countries. His dissertation chair is Jay Graham, and she is being hooded by Dr. Graham. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present Laura Costella Magana Mendoza, who is receiving a doctoral degree, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Environmental Health Sciences. The dissertation title is Formaldehyde Toxicity, Multiple Approaches to Understanding the Mechanistic Pathways to Disease. Her dissertation chairs are Luping Chang and Dr. Martin Smith, and she is being hooded by Andres Cardenas. In front. We are presenting a posthumous certificate in memory for Environmental Health Sciences doctoral candidate Graham Summerwell Flitz. Graham's advisor, Dr. John Balmes, sent these words. Graham Flitz was my advisee for both his MS thesis in Global Health and the Environment and his dissertation entitled Lighting the Way, or Just Blowing Smoke, assessing the efficacy of improved cook stove interventions to replace traditional open fire cooking in rural Malawi. Graham traveled to Malawi to collect primary data for his dissertation research and spent long hours cleaning other data collected by our in-country field workers. I remain very saddened that his untimely death prevented him from completing his dissertation research, but I am glad that UC Berkeley is posthumously awarding him this memorial certificate in recognition of his academic accomplishments. Graham was a special person who was missed by all who knew him. Dean Liu, it is with fondness and great sadness that I present a posthumous certificate to Graham. Receiving the certificate on behalf of Graham's family are Graham's dear friends, Dr. Jackie Ferguson and Dr. Suzanne Dufault.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Master of Arts in Biostatistics. Pablo Ferreira Dueñas. Wendy G. Jinming Serafina Shi.
It's okay. Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Master of Science, Environmental Health Sciences. Gabriela Riguto. Tessa Wardall. And the degree of Master of Science, Environmental Health Sciences, Industrial Hygiene, Constancia Dominguez. And the degree of Environmental Health Sciences, Master of Public Health and Environmental Health Sciences, Elizabeth Boxer, Simon Capo, Kayla Mae Cathers, Jennifer Julie Gopar, Yvan Gu, Yvan Gu. Erica Lee. Aaron Maruso. Austin Joseph Mello. Anne-Marie Tran. Zoa Olivia Varner. Carlos Vera. Valerie Zhang. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Environmental Health Sciences, and City Planning, Juan Gonzalez. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Environmental Health Sciences, Global Health, and the Environment, Maria Guadalupe Alvarez Pinada. Bianca Armenat. Holland Marie Boyden. Grace Elaine Harrison. Koi Hua. Noah Reiner. Erin Marie Xavier. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Environmental Health Sciences, Global Health and Environment and City Planning, Michelle Elizabeth Sterrett Williams. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Environmental Health Sciences, Industrial Hygiene, Emily Kristen Edas. Jacob Wee No. Yuning Xu.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students, following students who are receiving the degree of Master of Public Health Epidemiology. Naisim Andimo. Mohika Kurana. Didion Mayanwi. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Epidemiology and Biostatistics. Sarah Abdurrahman. Rudolfo Arivola Rodriguez. Tess Baker. Eileen Brambila Sotero. Edwin Choholin. Hey. Kylie Doherty. Natasha Dia Harrison. Pooja Iyer. Kelsey McCush. Rachel Myers. Tiffany Nguyen. April Peña. Richard Bon Luis Avendola Pulvera. Elizabeth Sherwin. Judy Tan. Elijah Wade. Ethan Wang. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Epidemiology and Biostatistics 4+1. Allison Coyne. Antonia Gibbs. Carla Guerrero. Lena Camille, excuse me. Caroline Kurtz. Adrian Kwok. Katrina Lee. Jasmine Lee. Jane Ying Liu. Jessica Tai. Taylor Young.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Masters of Public Health in Health Policy and Management. Julia Ann Aquino Chan. Camille Cooley. Nancy Gutierrez. Jack Harvey. Kiana Mudavi. Sherry Pablo. Anna Pickrell. Emma Strauss. Jamie Joe.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Masters of Public Health in the Interdisciplinary Program. Julia Balconi. Andrea Chai. Alexia Faye Marie Charles. Swati Mahanaraman Iyer. Carrie Wingying Lai. Dimple Patel. Kaylee Simmons. Isaac Vargas. And Shengpei Wang.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Masters of Public Health in Health and Social Behavior. Marina Blum. Rebecca Cherney. Colina Dang. Hannah Duvivier. Sagaree Jain. Elena Moldavin. Jerry Quintana. Limaidi Rodriguez. Oliver Kenyon Stabby. Joe Williams. And the degree of Masters of Public Health, Health and Social Behavior, and City Planning, Aurora Elizabeth Chavez. Erica Ann Foster. Emily Kaner. And the degree of Masters of Public Health in Health and Social Behavior and Social Welfare, Shalini Chatterjee. Caroline DeBee. Jessie Melina Garcia Gutierrez. All right.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Master of Public Health in Maternal, Child, and Adolescent Health. Abina Asari. Lauren Dinsmore. Carissa Gillette. Hannah Hecht. Sarah Cardos. Zenia Mendez. Kimsa Nguyen. Mo Shu. Clara Yang.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Masters of Public Health Nutrition. Shadan Ali. Cassandra Bacon. Yishan Huang. Michelle Lee. Pilar Marin. Jacqueline Mendelson. Morgan Myers. Sarah Newkrug. And Jesse Bruce. And the degree of Masters of Public Health Nutrition 4+1. Anne Heesun Okada. Morgan Victoria Peterson. Victoria Morgan Van Meter.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Master of Public Health, Infectious Diseases and Vaccinology. Clarissa May Aquino. Adrian Fiuberto Conejo. Zebediah Joe Eskman. Victor Guillermo. Ashika John. Brooke Kazama. Gia Park. Anna Marie Parker. Abigail Shotland. Nicolina Wallace. Dao Ching Wang. Colin M. Warnes. Rowan Wells Edwards. And the degree of Master of Public Health, Infectious Diseases and Vaccinology, 4+1. Michelle Laus. And Maya Rankapali.
Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following students who are receiving the degree of Masters of Public Health in the online program Epidemiology and Biostatistics. Myra Gonzalez Amador. McKenna Jones. Dil Renee Runathunga. And with the degree of Online Masters of Public Health, Health Policy and Management, Bharti Chinakotla. Jacqueline Esmeralda Cortez. Sali Nigel Grievous. John Joyce. Mariam Mustafa Shaheen. Caroline Stelzer. Clinton Yihang Sang. Jefferson Sue. And with the degree of Masters of Public Health, Online Interdisciplinary, Catherine Bolin. Lauren Boyle. Sarah Figueroa. Allison Elizabeth Huddleston. Larissa Purnell. Kirthiana Raja Gopal. Oh. Avery Hastings Richards. Marina Rue Moray. Kareem South. Elizabeth Summers. Jordan Wheeler Lorenz.
And last but not least, Dean Liu, it is my pleasure to present the following amazing, hardworking, resilient, epibus riding students who are receiving the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Public Health. Okay. Rogelio Aguilera. Raida Jabin Imad. Daniel Eka. Darpa Anna Reddy. Jessica Aravalu. Amin Aziuddin. Harmanjeet Buhija. Sana Basre. Abina Bakinra. Mona Rotanada Wong Bandwa. Tayabu Birakze. Uliya Bihimino. Prarthana Ba Tuchan Rita. Zaji Boima. Junae Briggs. Vivian Bui. Bochan Brandon Sai. Joshua Kulan Jian. Jasmine Kam Pos. Angikar Singh Chana. They're coming? Where are the cards?
Karen Chang. Tiffany Yan Ying Chen. Zenifo Chen. Chloe Isabella Chu. Brianna Karimi Collado. Mariko Costantini. Vivian Dang. Nika Darvish. Rachel Elise David. Alma Diaz de Leon. Emma Dawn. Anisha Dosanjh. Trinity Shao Durbaro. Heba El Khatib. Karina Yasmin El Khatib. Zaina El Kolak. Emily Jane Fisher. Madison Foster. Gabriel Simayan Garcia. Andrea Garibay Navarro. Victor Garibay. Vincent Ganad. Sarah Griever. Emily Gu. Christian Silvestra Gutierrez. Erica Gutierrez. Leslie Gutierrez. Mark Allen Gutierrez. Luisa Guzman Gomez. Hannah Habibi. Laebah Hamid.
What's up? Okay.
Sohaib Hassan. Nicole Hernandez.
I'm gonna do it when she's at the. I know. Okay,
Jonathan Ho. Savini Ho. Cheney Hoke. Safia Iman.
Amira Ismail.
Timothy Jong. Alexa L. Jabaharian. Jessica Wan. Kunal Kapoor. Nilufar Kehani. Samira Khan. Ryan Koyamatsu.
There's a girl standing up there. I guess it skipped her name. What was her name?
Jenny Sayang Guan.
The girl with the glasses. Do we know her name?
Mandeep Kaur Ladar. Nicole Lai. Hazel Lamb.
Also, can we keep scanning?
James Lappin.
Yasmin Kajanori.
Lindsay Suarez Lau. Megan Lau.
And good job on him. The sound guy is watching me like a...
Alaris Law.
Is there any more? We don't know. I'll just see.
Ashley Lee.
I don't think so. Okay.
Hunju Lee. Sydney Lasan. Kevin Michael Liu. Amy Lee. Chelsea Sui Len.
I can put this down, you think?
Jillian Littman. Anna Petrovna Litzkovich. Brittany Liu. Emily Liu. Selena Liu. Isabel Luna Oriana. Chelsea Mai. Arika Malik. Sophie Manukian. Sione Markarian. Sienna Marley. Anika Mazaki. Tanya Teresa Matthew. Simran Monder. Riss Myung. Suhas Nagapala. Helen Gao Nguyen. Aurup Kaur Narula. Miriam Khalid Obaid. Jackie O'Hara. Madeline Olmos. Erica Michelle Ozeki. Shruti Pai. Alicia Pandya. Haley Jayun Park. Anaí Polais Jimenez. Austin Peng. Emily Peter. Angelina Fawn. Ryan Poe. Apurva Prasad. Nishi Raman. Oscar Ramos Jr. Veloz. Danian Reagan. Alicia Reed. Diego Daniel Renteria. Manisha Sahu. Meher Sahota. Kristen Allison Romana Salvanera. Yoselin Sanchez. Maya Sandhover. Madeline Sachs. Sachin Gupta. Anmol Seth. Olivia Turner Shane. Natalie Primo Cheyenne Smith. Armand Shergill. Rebecca Shore. Amisha Singh. Puri Srivastava. Zachariah Deutsch Smith Rozak. McKenna Smith. Vivian Grace Steer Pineda. Maya Talavera. Nak Tan Tu. Amber Tran. Cody Nguyen Tran. Linda T. Tran. Alan Tren. Michaela True. Ella Tyler. Samiha Sara Udine. Verania Valdez Avila. Daniel Vasquez. Allison Velez. Jacqueline Hannah Vinkis. Nola Vu. Ernest Wong. Joy Wong. Soraya Loren Washington. Angela Way. Catherine Way. Shayna Weinstein. Danielle Elizabeth West. Annie Wong. Malia Yamamura. Ethan Peiming Yan. Sophie Yang. Siri Yin Luri. Michelle Victoria Yu. Hannah Young. Scott Yuki. Taylor Rocio Utan. Muska Zumani. Isla Janan Zarif Mustafa. Joyce Zhang. Lily Zong. Felicia Zornitsky. Yang Zhou.
Now, it is time to make all your degrees official. Will all the graduates please rise? By virtue of the authority vested in me by the President and the Chancellor of the University of California, I grant you the degree of Doctor of Public Health, Doctor of Philosophy, Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Public Health, and Bachelor of Arts. You can now take your tassel and move it from the right to the left. And please join me in congratulating this amazing class of 2022 of Berkeley Public Health. This concludes our ceremony. After the recessional, please join us for a reception in honor of our graduates at the Campanile Esplanade. Will the faculty and all of our guests please rise? We're going to let the graduates exit first, and let's give them a standing ovation as they go out into the world to fight for health equity and social justice for all. Congratulations, graduates. Go out and make us proud. Felix, and go Bears!